Hi Aries. For this type of reading, we are going to discuss what it is you're actually looking for when it comes to a partner, your soulmate, true love. I feel like, I talked about it, and what inspired me was the general love readings this week because I felt like Neptune was really getting in there, and it usually does. And a lot of us don't realize that in life, that it is that Neptune within our natal chart, and I highly, highly, highly suggest you guys go check it out. See what aspects you guys have. Is it squaring Venus? Is it trining Venus? What is it doing in your chart? Is it squaring your ascendant? And the reason I'm telling you guys this is because you guys may have a hard time seeing people for who they really are. And you may not even know it. It may feel like you really get somebody, or you may feel like you really, understand what something is and nobody else does. It's just you and this other person against the fucking world, and it's like, well, then why are you watching this fucking video? You know what I mean? And I'm here and I'm saying that with the most sincerest compassion in my fucking heart, and my tone may not reflect that, so you're just gonna have to believe what it is I'm saying, since that's what I'm currently trying to work on, is my tone matching my words, because we all have karma in this life, and that's my karma, and yeah, you're just gonna have to believe me when I say that. So it's not a dig at you, because I've been you and I get it. So I really, truly, wholeheartedly want to help you. And it's really hard to believe that other people could be possibly right, onlookers, outsiders, and sometimes they could be wrong. Oh my God, it could go either way, which makes it that much harder when it comes to these relationships, these connections, What is it when you don't, when you feel like you are listening to your higher self, and your higher self is telling you, no, this is meant to be. This is chemistry. This is connection. This is real love. It's just that, there needs to be time apart, blah, blah, blah. You'll make every excuse in the book. And sometimes things are just as straightforward as they are meant to be, right? Like with anything in life, if you practice, 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 you will get better at whatever it is you want to be good at. So when you have in your natal chart square aspects, it means that you're going to have a real hard fucking time at whatever it's squaring. Okay? Aspect in the natal chart is that energy within a planet where it's like you're going to feel that energy big time, and it's going to be a hard time. You're going to have some type of difficulty. You're going to feel like you have to do something along those lines. Depends what planets are at play. Okay? But the point of the matter is, when it's squaring something, you're going to master that energy. So let's just say, for example, and I'm just giving you an example, it doesn't even matter. If Venus is squaring Neptune, Neptune is that planet of intuition, psychic abilities, really knowing what it is without having to see it or being told. You just know. However, it's also la la land. There is a fine fucking line, and you're supposed to discern what is actually going on. And that's why when you have Venus is that planet of love, luxury, beauty, aesthetics, all that good stuff. It's like, are you seeing what it is, or are you seeing what you want it to be? And then you're being persuaded by that. So you're really actually feeling these feelings of true love. It's kind of sort of fucked up, but if you look into what it is you have, and you Google it and you do your research, you may find pretty ugly truths. And something may not be what it is you thought it was. And that will be the beginning of you healing. That will be the beginning of you understanding. you may feel stupid, you may feel ashamed, but honestly, you shouldn't, because whatever that was, you signed up for it. Your soul signed up for it to teach you something. Okay? That should give you reassurance. It should make you feel better. And as long as you come out learning something, that's all that matters. So I wrote these things years ago, because each time, you know, I didn't, looking back at my life, I never realized that I was always somewhat spiritual, but, you know, never outspoken about it. Just because when you have your sun squaring Saturn, you're kind of going to have a tough time in life being yourself. You're always going to feel like you're not going to be accepted. So you're kind of low key going to feel like, let me like not be myself. Like I can sort of kind of be myself, but not really. And it's just like a tough time, really. So it's like in private, I was somewhat spiritual, somewhat, because it's not like I always acted on these things. So after every breakup I always had, I always thought I learned something. And I wrote, when I find someone who can make me laugh, smile, and who has very similar goals as mine and actually acts on them, then I have found my match. Someone who challenges me in good ways and someone who accepts me for who I am, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I have then found my match. Now, this may sound very general, and this may sound like, well, no shit, that should go for everyone. I got to be honest with you. This is literally in my natal chart for, you know, the person, my soulmate that I end up with later on in life. This actually, believe it or not, does not have to go for everybody. There are really, like, I don't want to say that I'm not laid back, because I definitely am. I'm very down to earth, laid back, but at the same time I have expectations, you know. And there, Kylo, stop. There are people out there that cannot stop. Kylo, there are people out there, women or men, that may be more laid back when it comes to these people not keeping up to those things. I would literally need somebody to keep up with all of this in order for me to be happy. There may be somebody who can take or leave some of these. There may be somebody who, you know, anyway, I'm not going to get too detailed, but as general as this sound, Kylo, enough, of course, every time you do this, every time I click record, stop, enough. As general as that sounds, everybody is not necessarily, what I'm trying to get at is some people just settle. Some people just fucking settle. And then I wrote, years ago, we're inspired to understand what we can't comprehend. So I'm including this in as well, because I feel like this is what holds us back. This is what holds us back from getting over people, exes, connections, whatnot. And we stay in this energy. And this is usually what leads you guys to these videos, is we need to know. We need to know. I personally feel like usually more people with planets in the 8th house in astrology usually are more led to do these type of things, but not necessarily. Again, it really depends on aspects and planets and specific house placements and whatnot. But sometimes we just feel like we need to know. And I get that. So I feel like you can, if you know thyself, you'll have a better understanding of understanding why it didn't work out with whoever it is, because there's a part of you in your higher self that is seeing something you're not. And the truth of the matter is, you are seeing it, you're just not connecting with that part of you, and it's probably in your subconscious mind. But there's something you're just not connecting with that you just don't want to see. It's probably that fog, which is what that Neptune energy does. Because as straightforward as it is, and it's probably something you don't want to see, something you want to avoid, if it's meant to be, it would have been. And there are those stories where it's like people do end up together later on in life or later on. Those are the exceptions. Those aren't the rules. And I want you guys to hold on to that energy, because I don't want you to hold on to people. I don't want you to hold on to attachments. It's just not a good thing. You don't want a lingering energy. You just don't. If you get surprised along the way and people bring in new energy, that's beautiful, and I'm happy for you guys. However, you don't want to go in thinking that. You just don't. And you may think that's negative to think, for me to tell you, don't think you're the exception. It's actually not. I'm trying to get you to think bigger, broader, because what you're doing is something, it's an attachment. Attachments are never, ever good. And I hope you understand that. So with that being said, I want us to figure out what it is you're really looking for in a partner. What it is you may not even be aware that'll actually make you happy. And then I want you to compare what comes out here to whoever it is you're thinking of at this time. And really just let it sink in and resonate and just ponder it over the next few days. Okay? All right. So we got 8 of Cups in reverse. Not walking away. 8 of Swords in reverse. 10 of Cups in reverse. One more card. Okay, so I feel like 2 of Cups. Okay. All right, and then these are, I'm sorry, I didn't explain. When I went through my first spiritual awakening, and I don't care about reversals with these are just pictures. I'm not good with technology. It really just comes down to laziness, to be honest with you, but and not taking the time to learn. But I screenshotted a lot of quotes back then, because that's what it really was. It wasn't more about visions, because I wasn't getting visions. I wasn't in touch with being psychic. That's why I always tell you guys to just keep at the meditation if you feel like you have those gifts, because it's quite possible, if you feel like you are, that you are. Okay, this one wants to come out. One more. So I screenshotted quotes. That's what I was really into back in, I think 2016 it was. And that's around where before the return of Saturn came in, which is exactly what will happen. Your North Node energy will kick in right before the return of Saturn. And that's exactly what mine is, which is North Node in Pisces, which is all about being spiritual, but in a creative type of way, kind of like YouTube. Exactly. It's in the 5th house. So this is exactly what I'm meant to do. So what do I have for you guys? 8 of Cups in reverse, 8th house placement is what I'm thinking of, the things that cannot be seen. 8 of Swords in reverse. Okay. So I'm thinking 8 of Cups. I could be wrong. I'm thinking of Scorpio energy, water in the 8th house. I don't know. It's just what I'm thinking of. 8 of Swords, Jupiter and Gemini, making a decision. 10 of Cups, the illusion of, not necessarily the illusion, right? That's, well, I guess so. Sorry, I'm getting 10 of Pentacles and 10 of Cups mixed up, but it's in reverse. So it's like, the way you thought something would be doesn't turn out to be, like the family and all that. And then 2 of Cups, like a partnership, possibly true love ends up happening. Okay, and then pictures. Certain religious practices lower stress. The American Psychiatric Publishing Textbook of Mood Disorders shows that people who engage in meditation and prayer religiously are less stressed out. Money does buy happiness, but only up to $75,000 a year. For the average American, $75,000 a year buys happiness. It liberates you from poverty and gets you what you need in life. See, in my natal chart, it shows that I heal through some type of religion. It could be spirituality or my actual religion, which is Catholicism, which is, you know, a little bit of a conundrum. Astrology, as well as psychology. So I am my natal chart. Learning who and what to put my energy into. The reason people awaken is because they have finally stopped agreeing to things that insult their soul. Okay, so what would make you happy? Let's see, I'm going to close my eyes. And the heater goes on. It's always, I swear to God, it's always the same shit. I'm seeing some type of gate open. I'm seeing trees on the left and the right side. It's like one of those old school gates, like metal. Like like there's a left gate and a right gate, like a car could pull in. And they're kind of just going like they're flapping, like they're opening, closing. And somebody's closing them, like a gatekeeper. And there's like a sunflower closing it in order to keep you happy. So it's like, I feel like, what are you looking for? Like, it's like nobody could just like come and go, you know? It's like, so, okay, I'm gonna open my eyes for a second. I feel like the first message is that I think what can get us messed up in this life is comparing other stories to other people's stories. Hopefully I worded that right. I don't know. So I feel like you'll see stories out there where it's like people let people go and then they come back. And sometimes there's success with that. Sometimes there is. I'm not seeing that as like what would make you happy. There are some people out there that are just like, no, like it just can't work, you know? And I feel like that's what I'm getting from you. Like it's coming through in reverse because I feel like maybe this is something you've always accepted, is people coming back. And maybe this is something you still consider, that maybe that you are somehow still the exception. But it's like, if you're constantly always coming back to that repetitive cycle where this is always a thing, it's like it's meant to just shut down. That's why it's always coming back. Like you may be in those repetitive relationships where they're always coming back, and then you always give them another chance, and then you're in the on again off again relationship, and it's like, when does it end? You know, it's like you're not meant to give people another chance. And I don't want that coming off the wrong way. It doesn't mean like friendships, family. It doesn't mean that you're not meant to forgive people either. Please, like, I'm a little paranoid with how I speak, so I don't want people taking me the wrong way. It just means when a relationship is over and you made the decision or the other person made the decision, it's a closed chapter. No matter if you're reconsidering, it's like, no. It's just, that's the way it's supposed to be, especially if you were that person, especially if you are that person who has always been an on again, off again relationship. It's your message from source, whoever, whatever it is you believe in, the universe. It's like, no more. Please stop. Please. Okay. So that's the first message. It's like, you will be happy if you make this decision. You have to just trust and think back to the past. Were you ever happy when you opened back that door and you thought those same thoughts and had that same energy, like, okay, we could do this again, and you were happy and you were like, yes, 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 and then it turned out to be like, no, why did I do this? You know, and then it happens again in a new relationship, and then it's like, we do it again, and we're like, no, but this time's different. It's like, no, it's fucking not. It's not. It's just not. You're not the exception. Stop it. Stop it. And I'm saying that with love. It just doesn't sound like it. Okay. I feel like what I'm feeling is calmness, like nothing chaotic. Like that's the energy right now, and that's kind of making sense because sorry, I'm just still looking. Oh my God, yes. I'm sorry, I'm so excited right now. So I've said this wrong before and I caught myself, and I hate when I do this, but I'll always correct myself. So the 8th house placement, when Jupiter is in the 8th house placement, that is usually more times than not the same house placement a spiritual guru will have with Jupiter. So spiritual gurus usually have their Jupiter placement in the 8th house. I definitely said that wrong in one of the videos before, and I'm sorry about that. So it's like what I'm feeling is balanced energy. So this card, when you look at it, it's like this chick doesn't know what the fuck to do. She's got a dead donkey, something over her head, her eyes. She's like, and then she's covered by a sword. She's like, where do I go? So what would make you happy is a well-rounded person, somebody who is, I'm not saying necessarily spiritual, but I mean, this is definitely coming through. But definitely, either way, a balanced person. A balanced person. Like, nothing chaotic, nothing dramatic. Somebody who isn't bringing drama into your life. And if you have like a dramatic moment, they're not being chaotic about it or over dramatic about it. And I feel like that's really hard to find nowadays. You know, a guy who doesn't like bitch out because you're having like a moment, you know? It's like the energy I was picking up on was like a calm person, like somebody who was grown. And obviously that's not to say like you shouldn't be grown, like you should be, obviously, right? Like to be in that well-deserved energy of a man who's grown. And if you're a man who's watching this, I just assume that's mainly women, I'm sorry. But you know, either way, humans are humans. We have bad days, right? So it's just like if you have a bad day, this person needs to be there for you. And if they have a bad day, you need to be there for them. That's the energy I'm feeling. Like this is important. Especially as an Aries. You know what I mean by that. You know what I mean. We have our moments. Okay, so let's see what else. Sorry for the background noise. Oh, this makes me so happy. So I feel like you need somebody who would want a family, would want growth. This could be something that's important to you, something that makes you happy. or at least like would be okay if something were to ever happen with that, you know, because I'm seeing that, yeah, I'm seeing, what is it called? Fuck, what is the word? Inside, it's like the genes, the things being made inside a baby, like that needs to be okay on the table, you know? Needs to be. And like listen for it in their words too. Like, I'm gonna open my eyes. So this one, you can tell when people want a family and when they don't. Like you could just tell when they want to settle down and when they don't. So it's so important when you're picking up on that shit, like, do not, just be real. It doesn't even matter if it's just like the beginning stages and you don't want to scare them off. Like, no, if you're picking up on that shit, and especially if you're in your 30s like me, like, bring that shit up and just be like, are you looking for a family? Are you looking to settle down? Like, word it however feels comfortable to you. But if you can see there's some type of hesitance, wait, I think I said that wrong. Hesitant there? Wait, why am I talking like this? I swear to you, when the camera goes on, I just get more insecure. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. So speak your truth. Speak up about this. If this is important to you, I almost feel like this is everything you're getting right now. People leaving, people giving you shaky energy, and people giving you false promises and giving you no love. I literally feel like this shit is in, and this is why it's coming through the way it is. I need one of those sound things. Plays the ocean or something like that. Sorry. Okay, I'm seeing two cliffs facing each other. I'm seeing light. Aww. I feel like you guys are the cliffs. Like your face is a cliff and their face is a cliff. I'm feeling some type of balance, like just equal, like camaradies. I think I'm saying that wrong. What the fuck? Oh my god. I'm so embarrassed. Whatever, you know what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm seeing like speaking to each other, like even through dark times, you know, like through fears and all that, like being open and communicating. I'm seeing like bright white teeth through the dark, which is, you know, hard to do. I'm gonna open my eyes. But see, that's what happens sometimes with people, is like that's where they go drifting away. Or like that's where people misunderstand, like, guys, right? Like if you're a woman listening to this, it's like, well, a majority of them don't like to talk. when, you know, they're upset or confused or just anything negative. They like to go into their cave, right? That's what it's called. So it's like they would rather reflect and think until they come up with what they believe is an answer. But what I'm seeing is what's important to you is communication, like working through it and not like running away. The reason people awaken is because they have finally stopped agreeing to things that insult their soul. Learning who and what to put my energy into. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. So I'm feeling like what's important is either spirituality or just like a well-rounded person. I really wasn't picking up on money, I'm not gonna lie. But, you know, if you feel like this applies to you, then, you know, hold that energy where you see true. Definitely learning who and what to put my energy into. It's like this applies to this. Like, it's like you guys have to be on the same page about the future. What is important and what's not. And if you guys aren't, then it's just not worth it. It doesn't matter if you're on the same page with other stuff. It just doesn't. The reason people awaken is because they have finally stopped agreeing to things that insult their soul. You don't have to take somebody that doesn't want to communicate. You just don't. That's okay if that's who they are. But if it's not who you aren't, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to do that. There are people out there who can communicate and honestly and not run and, you know, do shady shit or cheat, whatever it is they do. You know, it's like you may have been programmed because of this type of behavior, right? Because we're thinking this is what's been going on with you possibly. It's like the lies, the deceit, the unknowing, the I don't know what I want. You know, this is what you're dating, right? It's like you may be thinking it's a you problem, but really it's a them problem. And that's the thing. That's what takes us away from getting in touch with who we are and our higher self is we always think it's us. It's not. It's just not. It's us. And that's the thing. That's what brings us back into this energy. We're inspired to understand what we can't comprehend. It's that some people have trouble with this, the 10 of Cups, and it stems from childhood. I look at the shit. Do you know how many? Oh my God. I have so many lists of the things, oh, I want for the future. I want for the future. I want for the future. I genuinely want a family, yet I can't find one fucking list where I wrote children. I wrote my husband, my business, my house, my blah, 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 blah. No children. Why no children? Because I look at my Chiron placement and that's in my fucking subconscious mind. I didn't realize I had issues with that because of my own childhood issues. So what I'm trying to get at is the people you could be connecting with, they may not even realize that they have issues with this because of their inner child wounds. And they may not be connected with that. And especially if they're a guy, they're probably not. We're inspired to understand what we can't comprehend. Why do they always leave? Because they're not happy with themselves. If they're not happy with themselves, how can they be happy with you? Especially if you're not happy in the relationship. When you're not happy in the relationship, all they hear is that you're not happy with them. And if they're already not happy with themselves, they don't want to work at that. They just don't. People don't want to accept that, but they're a whole other breed. They just don't want to work at it. That's why some men are, you know, complacent and they just don't want to work at things and they rather just not. And they rather just stick to what they know. And that's the truth. And people don't want to accept that. It has nothing to do with who you are. Eight of Swords, not knowing what to do. What do? Do I stick with what I know, which is usually when you put time into these people, right? Sometimes they waste your fucking time and stay with you longer because you are what they know. I hate to say it. I'm not saying all guys are like this. I'm not. So hold the energy where you see fit. But when they put time and they invest in you, okay? Guys are methodical, most of them, okay? They're usually brain over heart. They look at you as an investment. And I gotta say, I kind of think it's kind of smart to a certain degree. It's actually stupid, but smart. And I say smart because I didn't realize that I didn't realize that they I didn't realize that they I didn't realize that they thought that much. So I'm so sorry, but it's the truth. When I realized this, I was shocked. I was like, wait, they actually think that much? Yes. When it comes to relationships, and you know, it depends on the age, but it's like oh my God. If you were to see what goes on in their brain, it's like science equations, it's like math equations, it's science equations. I don't even know if that's a word, but you know what I mean? Like they're doing fucking geometry, they're doing algebra. Like when they invest in you, they're thinking about the time they put in, they're thinking about like the future with you, and then they're thinking about what they really want versus what they really want. And they're thinking, is that you? And this is when this energy is coming up only. This is when you're in this type of, you know, repetitive cycle with these people. And it sucks, but you know, again, to make you feel a little better, you know, I'm assuming if you're watching this and genuinely, you know, I manifested you to this channel, that you're into reincarnation. It means you signed up for this. So you shouldn't really feel bad if you have been in these repetitive cycles with different people, but the same type of energy. It's like you're meant to learn something from this. So it's like, don't feel bad. It's like, is there something wrong with you? Is there something you're doing? It's like, yes, but no. Yes, because you signed up for this to change something about yourself so you stop attracting this energy. These guys that stay with you longer than they should, they stay with you because, yeah, there's feelings there, but there's also doubt too, because it's like, there's something else they want out there, and you pick up on it, right? That's usually what happens. We pick up on it, and then it's like we don't want to let this go because it's like we want this and we want this, but what the fuck is this? Especially as Aries, we pick up on this shit. We're intuitive as fuck, and Aries, we go with our intuition. We always go with our intuition, and that's how we stay on top, because we get out of these fucking karmic cycles. We're like, no. You know, unfortunately, we stay longer, though. We do stay longer than we should have. We stay way past our welcome, unfortunately. Or at least I do. So the lesson within that is to stop staying past your welcome and to just leave. The second you start picking up on this shakiness and the first, you know, I'm out, just, you know, accept that. Because unfortunately, when you meet those guys or women, you know, that don't know what they want, that's for a reason. Because when you meet the person that you're supposed to be with, they're gonna know that it's you. And like I said from the very beginning of this video, you know, it's just as straightforward as that. It is sometimes those things that we hear about our whole life where it's like, you're just gonna know. And sometimes we just don't want to accept that, and we try to make things that they're not. And that's why we get so caught up in being inspired to understand what we can't comprehend, because we're feeling something we don't want to feel, an ending. And it sucks, and it's because it's a death. It's a death. And it's like but we love this person. It's funny how it's like we start feeling all that love once we feel like it's ending. Where was all that love when we were together? It's just something to think about. I hope that resonated. I hope that helped, or it gives you food for thought, or just something to think about the next few days, you know? All right. Yeah, that's what I got for you. All right.